Okay. So, like I was saying, today we do want to, we're going to be playing around with this site here. I'm going to throw it into the chat here. It is training-az2-doa-agencyplatform.pantheon.io. I know it's a long URL, but this is where we kind of host our little training site, so you can go in there and work on. In order to log in, I'm going to give you the web address to that as well. You will be using the username training user and the password with a capital P, password 1234. I'll give everybody a couple minutes. If you could just log into the site itself, I will go through that as well. Laura, if you click on that last link that I just put up there, that's where you'll go in to log in.
Okay, so then I missed what my username and password was. Sorry.
Oh, it's yeah, it's okay. It's right there on the screen for the presentation. It's training user for the username.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm so not paying attention to what you're doing there.
It's all right. Okay, I think about everybody should be logged in here. In case you need help, just let me know. I'm going to switch over to the site itself. So taking a look at the site, once you log in, you should see this screen. You'll see a member for 4 months, and then some little shortcuts and tabs right here that you can click on, but you can go ahead and ignore those. The other thing you'll notice that once you log in, you will notice a few things that are on the screen. First is going to be this admin bar that's here to the left, as well as if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, there is this feedback button. It highlights red when you click on that, and we'll go over that in a second. But those will be the two things you will notice when you log in to the site itself. So first, I want to go through the admin bar here. So taking a look at the admin bar, the first thing I want to do here is just I want to expand out this menu. There's a little arrow here at the bottom left corner. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And what this does is that it shows me what each of those icons are. Once you kind of start getting familiar with what each of those are, you can go ahead and close that. Obviously, it'll give you a little bit more screen real estate to kind of just work with as you're working on your site. But this expansion will just kind of help you navigate through what you need to do. So we are logged in as a elevated power user. So some of you may have just editor permissions, which will get you, which everything that we're doing today will go go ahead and do what we're doing here today. So don't worry about that. But we are logged in as a power user, so you might see some more configuration than you're used to. So, but don't worry about that. Everything we're doing today will be handled on your role that you are assigned. But taking a look here, this very first button, this is our tools button. This is for just kind of quick things that you'll be able to do for your site. But if you click on the actual teardrop itself, this will it's a quick way to kind of go back to the home screen. So in case you are just looking for a quick way as you're navigating throughout your site, you want to go back to the home page, you can go ahead and click on that teardrop icon and it will bring you back there. Other tools that are in there is that you're able to flush the cache in case you need to do that. And this is also where you're going to be able to go and just log out as well. So in case you do need to log out of whatever machine that you're working on, you can go ahead and do it there. Jumping to the next menu item here, we have content. So content this is where you'll go in order to kind of see the overview of everything that is on your site itself. You can click on the overview button here. You can click on just the content icon here. So if I click on that, this will take me to the content for everything that is currently on this site. Now you'll see some just test stuff, things from past trainings, but this is where you'll be able to go and search for content on your website. So you can easily search for things here, where I can search for by title and just filter it out and look up everything that has test in the title of that content. Or if I wanted to, I can look up specifically specific types of content that may be on your site. So whether that is a news or press release, a resource, maybe a leadership profile, whatever it is that you're looking for, you can go ahead and click on that specific content type and filter it all out. So you can see all the leadership profiles that are currently on your site. So just kind of a quick way to kind of see everything that is on your site itself. The content section of the admin menu is also going to be where you go to add in new content, and we will go over what each of those content types are, but that's where you'll go in to add content itself. This is also where you'll find your files, your media files as well, so images, documents, anything that you're looking for, you'll be able to do that as well. So that's what's covered under the content section itself. Going below that, you won't see structure. We're only going to worry about content, but next we have structure. In case you do have elevated permissions, that's where you go to kind of manage your taxonomy, manage your views, but that's kind of more in-depth and for a different training. And then there's appearance, the extensions for modules. In case you do have those permissions, you usually won't see them in an editor's role, so don't worry about that. Here is where the people, where you're going to go, where you can go to kind of manage who is on your site itself, but that's usually managed by us, so you probably won't see that as well. And then the one thing you might see on there is going to be configuration. Once you are logged into your editor role, you might notice that anywhere you go into configuration, you don't have the ability to do anything. I'm not sure why it shows up as an editor role, but it does, but you're not able to kind of do anything in there, so you can go ahead and just ignore that. The two top ones are going to be your main ones you use, the content and structure, in case you are managing your own taxonomy, you are managing views, or if you are managing any kind of feeds that may be on your site itself. But again, those kind of get into more in-depth, deeper dive for for what we're doing here today. Does anybody have any questions on the admin bar? Okay. The next thing I do want to show you here, again, we did talk a little bit about it here, was the feedback button here that's off into the lower right corner. So if I go ahead and click on that, what this does, and I want you guys to be very aware of this for your site, is that in case you are having issues with your site, whether that is something's not working the way that it should, you have a question about something maybe that you're doing, or you have just some general feedback you would like to give us, you would say, hey, you know what I would like to see on the site would be something like this. This is where you can go ahead and fill out this information to be able to send out directly to our maintenance team. So in case you are having some issues, when you do write this up, please be sure to be on that page that you're having issues with, because this gives us all the information of where this is coming from, who was submitted by, and then you can add in additional information in here. So as an example, let's just say I was having an issue with the home page. I'm going to call this a Drupal issue. I used to say the slideshow is not working, something like that. I changed the type. So what am I having? Is a general issue? Do I need a new user account? There's different categories that you can go ahead and pick, but this one's a general issue. So I'll just select that. And you can even, by choice, you can take a screenshot directly in your browser. So you can highlight certain areas. So in case I wanted to show, oh, this is the slideshow, this is where I'm having issues with, it's not displaying something that I don't want. So it will highlight that for our maintenance team to kind of take a look at that. So then once I'm ready, I can take that screenshot and it will Put it in there as soon as it does. There it goes. So it's a little slower, be faster on your site just because we're not presenting or anything. So anyways, it takes that screenshot. So that screenshot will attach to the ticket that you're submitting in for our maintenance team. You can upload your own image in case you do need to do that, or upload any kind of file that you might need to go along with it. So, and then once you do, you can go ahead and click send, and that will send it out to all the necessary areas that we needed to. That will send it out to Cheryl, that will send it out to our maintenance team directly, and then they will go ahead and follow back up with you after that. So just in case you are having issues with your site, you do have that ability to kind of just quickly submit something in to get that fixed. Any questions on the feedback? All right. So what I first want to cover before we start jumping in and start creating content and getting kind of used to that, some of you may have received a site that already had a bunch of content moved over from your old site to the new site, and you kind of want to be able to edit what is already existing. So again, like I was saying, in case it's a specific page that you're looking for, one of the first things I would definitely go is to go take a look at the content overview. If we're looking at a basic page here and I filter it out and I wanted to edit something specifically, you can go ahead and do that, and then just go ahead and click edit and start from there. So one thing you might notice is that it could just be the body of the main body of the page itself, or it can be specific blocks that are placed throughout that page itself. So that's one way to kind of just jump to kind of look at existing content that's there. To be able to edit it. But one of the main things that you're going to be doing is that you want to edit these blocks of information that are already currently on your site. And you want to kind of, how do you go about in doing that? So this is an example. Here are some items here that I want to edit here. So there's different ways of going about doing it. The first thing I would always recommend is that take a look at the top of the page. You're going to go to layout here. This will bring you into what we call the layout builder. So within the layout builder, you can put in blocks of information, whether that is a slideshow, whether that is a drop-down menu like these ones are, or a different type of slider that's here. There's different kinds. And we will kind of go through what those different kinds are later. But in case you got your site already, this is kind of the go-to place of going to edit those specific things as well. So this one in particular, let's say this one I want to edit. If I go in here and click configure, this will bring up actually that. So that'll be one way to kind of do it if you build it through here. So in case something was added onto this page specifically, you can go in and go to configure, and that will bring you to edit this content. However, this one here, and we'll get to this in a bit, we'll learn about the differences between a one-time use block of information and a block of information that is usable on multiple pages. So you can just kind of keep putting it in different places on your site. And so that way, when you update it once, you will update it again. It's a reusable block. So that's what this one is, which is why I can't edit it directly from this, but I'll show you how to go ahead and do that. So, but like I say, if you're going into your website and you're looking to edit those, make sure to take a look out for those pencil icons that pop up. You can go ahead and click on that, and you want to go to configure to be able to edit what is there. So I do want to edit that drop-down menu real quick. So, or the accordion, as we call it. So I'm going to go back actually to the front page here, because I can easily do it from there. So on this, if I hover over it, you'll see the pencil icon that pops up. I'm going to go ahead and click on edit, and that will bring me the ability to be able to edit what is on there. So in case I needed to change something for this accordion items, and we'll go over accordions and the different types of blocks that are there. But this is an example of a custom block that you can go ahead and create to use on either one page itself, or if you want to use it on multiple places, you can create a reusable custom block to be able to do that. So I'm just going to add in another one here. So I'm going to add in an accordion, another item. This is a test item to show how to edit custom. You go ahead and do that. I'll click save here. And that adds another item here. So that adds on to the accordion custom block that we created here. So again, those are different various ways to go and edit content that is already on your site. So just make sure, hover, look for those pencil icons that pop up. Make sure you're either going to go to a link that says edit or a link that says configure. It's one of the two that you'll find. So it depends on how your site was built. So go in, test it out. And then if you have any issues, obviously you can always reach out to us while you're working on your site. Any questions as far as just managing content that's already on your site itself?
Vincent, right where you were on that picture, there were two pencils there. Why were there two pencils to edit on that one picture?
Yeah, so this will happen sometimes. It's one pencil is laid on top of another. This one itself, what happens sometimes is that there will be two blocks that are on top of each other, and it will cause that kind of double pencil just depending on where you need to go. So the one on top was that specific slider here that we were taking a look at here. So if I go back and let's take a look at that other one. This other one is probably, I'm assuming, is going to be for this image that's in there. Let's edit here. Slider. Well, this one in particular, it does go to the same place. I think it's because of that slider's throwing it off a little bit. But you will notice that from time to time that there will be kind of a double pencil. They usually will take you to different places, but that's usually because those things are kind of stacked on top. There might be two things that are stacked on top of each other. So it's a little bit of a thing that's kind of a little bit broken, but it's just a way to work around it. So that's what will happen sometimes.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we continue on? Okay. So I'm going to click on, again, kind of just going through this. I'm going to click on the About page here as an example here. So there might be some things that we notice. Again, we want to go through and edit certain content that's already on the page. If you can see here, what I am noticing is that I am not seeing any pencil icons while I am in this page in particular. It's because it's probably just managed through two different things. I can look into where the actual page edit is there. So this was just the main body. This one in particular is just a simple page. It doesn't have custom blocks in it. So they went ahead and created this with just a basic page in mind. So if you want to go and edit that About page, you can easily do that here. So we can add in various sections in here. We can use the WYSIWYG, as you may be familiar with from past Drupal sites that you may have worked on, or even it's very similar to something like Word, where you have the bar of information. You can just add stuff on there, and you can switch it from a basic HTML to a more full HTML, which will give you a little bit more stuff to kind of deal with here. So we always tell people to stick with a basic as much as you can, but in case you do need those extra configurations, you can switch over to full to kind of give you a little bit more of a format if you want to change some stuff that's on your this page in particular. So I'm just going to do that new section. I'm going to save it. And just kind of an easy way to go about adding in a basic page itself here. Now, what we'll jump into here in a bit is going to be, how do I add those type of, those blocks of information that are going to be a little bit more stylized, those accordions, those sliders, maybe just a simple image or even a video from YouTube. And we'll go over that here in a bit. You'll have the ability to do that, but we will jump back into that layout builder that we kind of explored a little bit earlier, where that's where you'll go ahead and add those types of blocks of information. So, the next thing I want to cover here is going to be adding content onto your site. So now that we're kind of familiar with, how to edit content that's already on the page, getting familiar with that, I want you to get familiar with adding content itself. So for this one in particular, I'm going to create a basic page here. So a basic page is going to be something that is used that's on your main website navigation, right? So we have something, we're creating an About Us page, we're creating a Contact Us page. We always want to start with a basic page to kind of give us a good layout of what we're doing here. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a basic page. I'm just going to call it a cool page. So I'm going to fill out this information, which we call here, but each of these are called fields. So in case somebody does throw that term out on you, so anytime that you fill something out within Drupal or even a web form, they'll call those things individual items, like your first name, last name, whatever those individual things are that you're filling out here. They're called fields. So I'll go through, fill out the fields that are for a basic page of what they need. The ones that are marked with this red dot are required. So make sure that you do fill those out in order for you to create this content. And then other ones that don't have a red mark are optional. So we have a body. We want a body for this particular page that I'm creating. So I'm just going to do that real quick. I'm just going to use a lorem ipsum generator here. So in case you are looking for a good lorem ipsum generator, I do recommend Cupcake Ipsum. It is my favorite lorem ipsum generator. So I am just going to go ahead and copy this and put it back onto my page here. So here, now I have my body of this basic page that I'm creating. If this all looks good. Now, before I save it, I do want to take a look up what is here on the right-hand side. You will notice this for all the content that you do create, all the content types that we have available. You will see this menu is off here to the right. You have the ability to add in a revision log message. So in case you are working with other individuals on your team and you guys are working on the same page every once in a while, I would always recommend just filling out what you changed here so somebody who comes in later can take a look at your revision logs to see what was changed since the last time they have done it. Now, for more often than not, though, we do have agencies who kind of just have one person kind of managing their the content that's on their site. So you might not need to do a revision log message unless you want to kind of keep track of the things that you are changing, so you have that record. But you do have that ability to kind of add in those log messages there. Below that, we have our menu settings. So this is where I would go if I want to add it on to the main menu of our site. So when I click on menu settings, this little checkbox here pops up. It says provide a menu link. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It defaults to my page title. You can add a description in there if you want. It's not necessary. But the parent link menu, that's where it's going to be depending on where you want to kind of keep it. So if I'm added to the main navigation, there's different areas that I can put it in. There's different sections that I can put it in. If I want it to be a new section altogether, so like a link on the top level navigation, I will keep the parent link as just main navigation. So that will put it in line with the home button, the about button, the contact us button. This page will be there. In case you do want it under the about section, you can go ahead and click on that. So this one in particular, I'm going to put it into the about section. So that means I'm going to make the parent link the about. The weight, I'll keep at 0. I can move these things around, and we'll go over that here in a second. And then lastly, you might see things here, meta tags. We have some default stuff in there that's going to be pretty good for SEO purposes. If you do want to jump into that a little bit more, you can. It's a little bit out of scope for this training. But with SEO tags and how things are structured today, usually a lot of the stuff is just taken care of for you automatically, so you don't need to mess with the stuff. And it's all about the quality of the content that's on your site. So make sure you give a clear, concise, what is this page title going to be? So If people are searching things on Google, they're going to go ahead and find it because these things are structured out in a way where as long as your content is relevant and makes sense, people will be able to kind of go in there and find it. Next, we have our URL alias. For 99% of the time, you're just going to keep this generate automatic URL aliases, which means that we have patterns set in place on your site. So if you're to move things around or you change the title of something, those will automatically generate for you. So you don't have to worry about what that path is going to be. And then they will nest it in a way where it makes sense. So if I put this in the about section, like I'm going to, it's going to be my website address /about/cool page is what I'm creating here. But if I did move this into, if I move this cool page into the contact us section, it would automatically update to /contact us/cool page. So that way you don't have to worry about it. Now, in case you do want to override that, you can. So you can uncheck that box and then put in whatever it is that you want this particular page to be. So I can have it so it skips that whole about us nesting or anything like that. I can just put something this cool page. So now that this particular page that I'm working with, because I'm overriding that automatic URL alias, it will now just be my website address / this cool page. So you do have that ability to change things around if you want to. Now, I'm going to keep this as just generate automatically by the URL alias. So it's going to use that pattern that we have in place. It's better for SEO purposes. I don't want to mess around with it too much. So I'll just leave that as is. Authoring information, it's pretty straightforward. It's just going to be who was the one that authored this basic page to begin with. It's just going to fill out your information in here as you're working on it. And then lastly, we have promoted options. Promoted options, if you were to check these off, these don't do anything unless you are working on a news article. And we'll show that why that is here in a second. So I'm just going to leave those as is. And now that everything's good to go, I did put the this page in the main menu under the About section. So I'm going to go ahead and save it here. So now that I've created that basic page, you might notice here some things. So first off, like I said, I put it in the About section. So now if you take a look at the URL itself, you can't see it from the presentation, but it is /about/cool page. And it even builds out the breadcrumb here. So in case I need to go to the About page, I can go ahead and do that quickly through this breadcrumb. The other thing you will notice is that in the About section, there it builds out a menu for you. So this is the sub navigation for the main menu. So my cool page is already there. It's created. It does it dynamically. So when I create something, it will automatically put it into that section here on the right-hand side. And it also obviously puts it into the main menu itself. So when I hover over About, there's my cool page that I'm working on. So I know I'm throwing a lot of information at everybody, but does anybody have any questions on any of this?
I do. I can't remember if I was supposed to add anything to the meta tag.
Yeah, the meta tags, again, you can leave those as the default. They're already kind of defaulted in a way where, it's best for SEO purposes. But like I said,
perfect.
So you don't have to mess with
Makes it easy for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Now, when you go ahead and save, so automatically when you create any content, so not just a basic page, but any content, when you save it, it will automatically be published. However, if you want to hold off on that and you're working on it, there's this little check button that's right here. So this is the green light. It means that it's good to go. I am going to send it off. But if I uncheck this and click save, there's a few things I want you to notice. So one, the public is not able to see it. So it is just for you. It's for you to see it. However, what you will notice is that it does still put it into the main menu. That doesn't mean that the public can see it. It's just you as an individual, because you're logged into the website, this is something that you created. It's not published yet, but it is something that it will still show up on these main menus. But it's not available to the public itself. So just something to kind of keep to be aware of that. And in case once you are ready with it, it at least gives you an ability to create it, take a look at it before it published. And then once you're ready to publish it, you just go back into that page and then click publish and then save it. And then now it's available to the public itself. Now, like I said here, now that I have this cool page created, if I wanted to move things around, I totally have the ability to do that. So again, I'm just going to jump back into, I'm going to on this, up here, you have the different tabs of where you can go to be able to edit this. Because this is a simple basic page where it just has the body in it, there's nothing to be flashy about this page. I'm just going to go ahead and click on edit, go back to what I was working on here. And let's say I want to move this easily over to the contact us section. I'm going to go ahead and click on contact us as the parent link, click save. And then now everything dynamically gets updated. So again, it is added here to the sidebar navigation. It is added under the main menu. And then for the about, it has removed it from there. So now we aren't, so it just automatically switches everything over and it recreated my URL. So now it says /contact us /cool page instead of the about us or the about section. So now I just moved everything over and everything kind of just dynamically updates without you having to worry about all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so, and then the last thing, before we go on to the next part, what I do want to kind of show you, because I know that this is a common question for people who are, when they're building out their site and they're building out these various pages on their main menu, they want to move some stuff around. So I just created this cool page here under contact us, but I don't want that to be at the top. I want that to be at the bottom. Just like it is when you're editing content. When I hover over this main menu at the top, you'll notice the pencil icon comes down here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on edit menu down here. So when I click on edit menu, this brings up my main menu navigation. And here I can see all the links that are associated with the main menu. And you'll notice this little cross is next to each link that's here. This allows you to actually drag things around to where you want to place it. So for Cool Page itself, I want to put that at the bottom. All I did was literally just grab that cross icon and just move it around to where I want it. You can even move it around to different sections if you wanted to. You could put it under news, you could put it under resources, whatever it is. But this is kind of just an easy, quick way to kind of drag something to where you need it to be. And then you can even drag it back and forth to what level it is on. So if I want it onto the main level navigation, or I want it nested under resources, I can just move it left and right. So that's the ability you have there too. So, but for this one in particular, I am going to just drag it so it's under contact us, but at the end, I'm gonna click save. Something to be aware of, obviously, if you want to edit the main navigation, you're just putting a link that's not necessarily any kind of basic page or any content that's on your site. Maybe it links out to AZ State Jobs or something like that. You can go to that menu where you just were, and you can add in a link, and it could be pointed to somewhere outside of your site. And you can add that to your main menu as well. So something to just be aware of. Also, even though you can add links in through the main menu up there, I definitely recommend, if you're building content on your site and you want that content, so this page here in particular, on your main navigation, I would recommend that you guys still do it through this method that we started out here by adding it to, by changing the link title here, or if you're adding, or if you want to change it around to, if it's going to be a contact us or if it's going to be about, I would recommend that you just do it through there. That way, it updates it correctly, and you won't have any kind of things that may mess up by just moving things around or just adding it through the main level navigation or just the main menu configuration. That is because if you do it through here, it will update everything that needs to do it with. So it updates the URL redirect. It updates, make sure the meta tags are correct. URL aliases are there. Those things will be put in place for you. So, so just be aware of that. Any questions on basic pages or creating content here? Okay. So the next thing that I want to cover, and this is one of the main things that a lot of people do, is adding documents onto your site. So different types of resources, whether that is agendas, whether that is policies, or financial reviews, whatever it is for your agency. You're going to want to upload those resources that need to be available over to the public itself. So we have we have something standard for all of our sites for you guys to take advantage of. We have this page called resources. So what that allows you to do is that it allows you to create a library for your audience to put in all of those strategic plans, those standards, those procedures, or something else. We can always add on to what those categories are. And so it allows people to kind of easily search for those documents on your site itself. So if I was looking for something like, let's say I was looking for the strategic plan, I can search for it by title. So if I am a user who is on your site, this is how I'll go about searching for those things. So strategic plan, that's what I was looking for. Or maybe I was looking for different policies on your site. I can click on policies. It shows me all of the policies that are on your site. So that's how you kind of go about creating that. You'll create this library of all of those different types of documents that you want to put onto your site. So in order to do that, just like we did for creating a new basic page, we're going to create a resource. So when I hover over content section here in the main, in the admin menu and go to add content, you'll see these various contents that we have here. And we're going to get into resources here in a second. So the first one we did was creating a basic page. A basic page is going to be kind of the foundation for all of your content on your site itself. Now, the other content types that we have here, we have the ability to create events, stuff that your agency may throw, something that's for the public, or even stuff that's just for agency employees. You can put those events up there. We have a leadership profile pages. So if you want to highlight the leadership in your agency or other people, other employees, you can go ahead and create those leadership profiles. We have meetings. So for those of you who are part of boards and commissions, we have a way for you to easily create meetings, whether that's board meetings or any type of meetings that you have that you want to share out to the public. And within this meeting content type, you're able to have people register for those meetings to be able to ask for feedback or ask questions in those meetings. We have that set up there for you to kind of take advantage of. Next, we have the news and press releases, which is pretty straightforward. If you want to post up a news article, you can go ahead and do it there. Then we have resources, which we're going to work on here in a second. But that's, again, going back to all the documents you want to upload to your website, the policies, the standards, procedures, whatever that is. Then we have this new thing called service. And this is something that I do want to go over with you guys just for something to keep in the back of your head. We are going to want to have agencies to start identifying all of the services that they provide for either state employees or even for citizens, just so because at some point what the state wants to do is that they want to build a site that will pull in all of that information on everybody's site to identify what those services are that they provide. One of the troubles that the state of Arizona has always had is having a good, solid, up-to-date list of all of those services. Because sometimes, agencies will post up new services or take away services, but then not report it. So we don't know what is really up to date. So sometimes we run into that issue. But what we want to do is that we want to start handing it off to the individual agencies to identify what those services are. So if somebody's on your site, they can see what services you provide, both online and offline. And then if you need to remove something, you can easily do it there. And then so not only will it update it from your site, but it'll also update it from that master site that they will eventually build to pull in all of those services. And we can go over that a little bit more in depth at the end of everything. And then lastly, there is a web form here. You can ignore this for the most part. We're not going to jump into web forms today. That's going to be a more advanced training. Web forms can get pretty complicated, but we will go ahead and show you how to do that in a different training. But before I continue on, does anybody have any questions about the various content types that we have here? All right. So I'll jump into resources. So this might be, for a lot of agencies, this is a lot of the content types that they create. They're going to be, they want to, send out, what are those annual reports? What are those policies? Maybe budget reports that you want to send out and share with the public. You're going to go ahead and create those resources here. Now, remember that this is built for the public to see. So if this is not really a public document, you really shouldn't be posting this unless you do build a kind of a private repository for just employees. If you have an intranet site, that's one thing, but those are things that we would, in case you do have those different requirements, you'll have to work with us so we could set those things up. I know that some agencies in the past, they have had a private page. It's not linked anywhere. They do it so if they post up something that they want to share with somebody, they can easily do that with just a URL and nothing else. But people can easily, the public can't easily find it unless they go digging in through their site a little bit more. So it just makes it harder for them. But this resource, for the most part, they're going to be stuff that you are posting for the public itself. So as an example here, I am just going to say, let's say we're doing a dress code policy. Maybe something for employees that they take a look at. The document type can be policy. I can also give it 2 different category types. I can also say it's a training. And then when I go down to the resource itself, I can add it in 2 different ways. I can either add it as a link to somewhere. So it can be a policy that's maybe written up and hosted on Google Docs, and you just want to share that Google Docs link. And that link obviously would be public for people to just kind of take a look at it. Obviously not edit it, but just the ability to kind of see it. We do recommend, if you are using Google Docs, is to do it that way. So that way, if you ever do need to go in and update that, let's say dress code policy as we have here, you only have to update it in the Google, on the Google Doc, and then you don't have to worry about re-updating it on the website. Because if I were to add it through a PDF and upload it on here, if I were to make changes to the dress code policy, I would have to go back in, delete out what is there, and then re-upload the new dress code policy. So it's just something to kind of be aware of as we kind of move into this whole cloud-based documentation. It's always good to have it so if you can link directly to it, and if you edit it one place, it just automatically updates there, and you don't have to worry about re-uploading on your website. Go ahead and do that. So, but for this, for example, I'm just going to upload a PDF here as an example. You have the ability to either select something that may be already uploaded onto your website, or you can upload it on your own. So if you go ahead and click on choose files up here, and let me see what I can do here. I want to grab a document. Sorry, I'm looking for. Here is a PDF that I have here. So this is a direct deposit form from ADOM. Anyways, so if I upload it here, this is what I want to share. This is part of the policy. Again, this is a way of doing about it if you want to just add in a PDF. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. So now it has that in there. Don't worry about putting any kind of link in there. You just either need to do one or the other. So I have the document in there, and then I could put the description here. This is a new dress code policy. Everyone must wear silly hats. And then again, you'll notice that you have revision log messages here. You have the ability to add it to the main menu. I would not recommend you do that for resources. Only worry about that for basic pages themselves. You could change the URL alias to this particular resource, but pretty much leave everything default here for resources, and then just go ahead and click save. So now that I've added that dress code policy, this takes me kind of to a just a summary page of all the stuff that I put in here. So here's my description. There's the document type that I have. It's policy and training. And then here's the document that I uploaded. Now that I've created that, if I click on resources, if I look up new dress code, so I'm just going to click a new here. Oops, actually, let's look up dress code policy. I guess I've made multiple ones already before. So here's dress code policy. Obviously, it has the categorization here. And when I click on more info, here's what I typed in for that description. So if you can give a little bit more context to what these documents that you're uploading are, it allows people to kind of search for it and find it a little bit better. So for this one in particular, if I wasn't looking up dress for dress code, maybe I was just looking up something like silly hats. Silly hats. There, it brings up the dress code policy itself. So that keyword search is just searching within the description that you're giving for that document, just so people can easily search for those things in case they don't know what the title is or what if it's a policy or something else. So they might just know some kind of keyword that they may be looking for, and then they can pull up that document itself. Any questions on resources and how this works? Okay. Now, before we're going to jump in right now to you guys creating your own resources, we'll go over that here in a second. One thing I do want you to be aware of is that with this resource library that you're creating, if you do notice something, let's say for this example, this is, sorry, my screen just gave out on me here for a second. All right, there we go. It says my awesome training resource. And let's just say it's something simple as like, oh, I want to add in resources, just have it be plural. So if I click on it, you can see as I hover over each individual resource here, the little pencil icon is popping up. This does allow me to click on this and quickly jump in to editing that specific content type that was created. So again, I wanted just to make this plural. Something could be something as simple as that, or maybe you want to change out the where this resource link is actually linking to or anything else. You can go ahead and easily do it there, save it. It'll throw you back to that resources list. And now it is updated. So it is now plural. It can be as simple as that, but that's just kind of a quick way to kind of jump into things that are already created in your resources library to edit it. Now, that leads me on to our first task we're going to do here. So what I would like everybody to do is that I want everybody to kind of create their own resources here. So you're going to go to add content. You're going to create a new resource. Then the title could be whatever it is that you want. And then you can choose whatever document type that you'd like. And then you can add in a PDF document if you have one on hand that you can do, or you could do a URL to a website or a Google Doc in case you want to, test that out. And make sure to add a description and then click save. I'll give everybody about 5 to 10 minutes to do so. Let me know if anybody has any questions on this. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. I'm going to jump back over here to the page itself. All right, I'm going to go to the content overview here. So quickly, this just kind of allows me to jump into the content that's already created onto the website itself. So as you guys can see here, I do have my dress code policy that's here. And then here are the 4 that you guys went ahead and started creating as an example. So again, going to that content overview page, it does make it easy to kind of find content that you're working on or you just published. You can go ahead and do that. For this one, you can obviously jump back to the resources page, and I'm going to look up Laura's here as an example. So Laura, apply. Here's Laura's new resource. So it's a quarterly report. So again, these are kind of just easy ways to go about finding that. And again, I can, if I hover over it and I see the little pencil icon, I can go in and quickly edit her content, or that's one way to kind of get into it. If I go to that content overview page and take a look at Laura's new response here, new resource, sorry, and I click, there's the edit operation that I have here. So I can go back in and jump into edit something that she may have done in case I need to do that, or edit a content that I just created. But looks like everybody kind of got a hang of it. Does anybody have any questions on that resource, or kind of going through that process of creating a content like that? Okay. Now, they're pretty much all going to be the same depending on what you're creating. If you're creating a news article, a leadership profile, you're going to start with a creation of a new one. You're going to fill out all of those various fields of what they require. And then once you do, when you publish it, it will automatically go to preset pages that we already have on our site, or maybe even ones that if you got a custom content type created for your agency, it should be set up in a way where if you create something, they should dynamically go to where they need to go on your website. Now, the next thing I want everybody to do is I'm going to take my cool page. I'm actually going to make it into the I'm going to put it into the main navigation here. So I am going to take my cool page, which we created earlier, and I am going to make sure it is in the top level navigation. I don't want it in the contact us section. I want to create a new section. So it's going to be called cool page. So I'm going to go ahead and click save here. Okay. So now that I have my cool page, this is obviously something simple where I have the body of information, I have the title, and then I have a new breadcrumb that's being formed here. I no longer see the contact us or about. It's creating its own new section. There's not even any sub navigation items because it is now in the top level navigation. You guys will see here, cool page. And again, if I wanted to move that, let's say I want to move it to the end, I can go into that menu and then just drag it down so it is at the bottom. So I'm going to drag it down. Here it is. Make sure it's still top level navigation. But now it is at the end of my navigation items. So there's my cool page. So with this, like I was saying earlier, the basic page is going to be the foundation for all of your content on your site. So if I was creating something and I wanted to create something a little bit more stylized, maybe I want to put in a banner or a slideshow, I will go ahead and first I would start by creating that basic page, which we've done here. Now, if I want to add in those custom elements, which is what we call our custom blocks, like a slideshow or a banner, I would go to, at the top here, the tabs, you'll see this layout section. I'm going to click on layout. Again, this layout, as I mentioned earlier, does bring us to the layout builder. This is where we'll go ahead and create those custom blocks. So on every single basic page, it will start off with this default layout. You have these 3 sections here. You have a top section, which is section 1. As you can kind of see here, the whole content will stretch from end to end on your website. So this is where we go to add in banners that will stretch across the entire page, or we add in slideshows. You usually want to do that in section 1. Section 2 and 3, as you'll notice here, it does have these white spaces here on the left and right. So this is where you go to kind of create the main piece of your content, and it kind of just condenses it down so words don't go from one edge of the website to the other edge of the website. You don't want to do that. It's going to be harder for people to read. So you definitely want to keep it within these gutter sections, these kind of the main body of the content of the page itself. Now, for this one in particular, I do want to create a banner that goes along with this page. So for this, now that I'm in the layout building section of this page, I'm going to click on add block here for section 1. Again, because I know that this is going to be a banner and it's going to stretch across from one end to the other of the page, I will start here with section 1. When you click on add block, you'll notice this right-hand menu that pops up here. You can ignore all this stuff here at the bottom. Where you want to go is going to be this big blue button here that says create custom block. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So just like how it was with content types, this is kind of more of a micro version of that, where you're really focusing on little elements that are found on pages that you want to do. So you have the ability to create that accordion list, kind of what we did there at the beginning of the training. You have the ability to create a banner, maybe just a basic block. You just want to throw in some text, but you don't want it to be a part of the body. It could be something else that you want to do with just text itself. We have something called a card set, which we'll go over a little bit later. You have the ability to do a Google map. You could do a homepage card, an image, logo list, a mission and vision, and all of these different types that we have here, like a slideshow, text with image, text with slideshow, video block. If you're looking for examples of what those look like, one, just add it. Create it to see what it looks like and see where you can place it on your site. Or if you go over landing page, you can look at the various landing pages that we have here, or even look at the available components, which are going to be those custom blocks. So you can see how each of those blocks looks and how there's alternate versions of how they look depending on what you want for your site. So definitely take a look at that available components to kind of get an idea of what each of those things look like. Now, again, for this page, I just wanted to create a banner. So I'm going to go ahead and click on banner here. And just like a content type, but these are custom blocks, I have the various fields to fill out here. You'll notice that this title field, this first one that pops up, it's always just the name of this custom block that you're creating. You can keep it as the default. It could be banner. In case you do run into where it's like, oh, this name's already taken, because it does ask for a unique value. You'll run into every once in a while. You could pretty much just ignore this thing and just add in whatever, because this is just assigning it to, it's for a back-end purposes. It's giving it a unique name just so the back-end can recognize what it is. If you're pretty much not going to display what that title is, because of the fact that unless you want to specifically do it. So if you want that banner 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever to display, you'll click on display title, but pretty much leave it just to the default. I'm going to click on banner here and they won't show up. You don't have to worry about it. But the next thing you might notice, because it will show up as title in 2 different places. So the title was just the name of the block itself, but the title of the banner is what you're going to want to add to. So this one is going to call it My Cool Page, and you'll see where this actually gets inserted. And then I'm not going to leave anything in the description. I don't need it. I don't need a link in there unless you want to have a link. So that if you were to put in a link, this would create a button for people to click on in the banner itself. But I don't want to do that. I just want kind of a nice banner on the top of the page. And then I am going to add media here. This is going to be the actual banner image itself. So there's different things that you can go ahead and do. You can just you can use something that is already uploaded onto your site, or you can upload a new image. I do want to go over uploading a new image because there are some stuff here that you might run into. You might have some questions on. So I'm going to find an image here that I can use. Let's see here. Here. Okay, so here I have a picture of a hotel room. So first thing you'll do when you're uploading a website, you want to make sure that you give that image a good alternative text. In case you're not familiar with what an alternative text is, it is a way that screen readers read back what an image is to people who are visually impaired. So if I was somebody who was visually impaired and I was using my iPhone, what my iPhone does is that when it's going around the website, it's reading things back to me. It'll read back not only what's in the body, the text that you put into your site, but also it will look at images and check to see if it has an alternative text. That alternative text will read back to that person to tell you what that image is. So you definitely want to be descriptive, but you don't need to be overly descriptive where it makes it very long. But just know that when you put an alternative text, put in some kind of really good description of what that person would be looking at if they weren't visually impaired. So for this one, I'm just going to say hotel room with white beds and a window overlooking Town Lake. Okay, so that gives me a good alternative text. So when somebody is on their phone, they can't see, it's reading it back to them exactly what that image is. So for this, next you have your crop images. You want to go through and crop each of these so you can use it in different ways around the website. So you got to want to think of things not only for what you're creating today, but also things that you might reuse it for later on. So just make sure that those crops are relevant and they look good. So this one is for a card. I'm just going to go ahead and do more of the bed here, move it over here to the left. When I do move it, or if I were to just to click into it, you'll see cropping applied will be added onto below the title of that crop. So that way you know that it actually applied. So make sure you, when you go through each one, even if you think that looks good, make sure to at least click on it. Because if you click on it, it will apply the cropping. If you don't, it won't apply it. So just be aware of that. So this is for a banner, which is what we're creating here. I want it to more look like this. And then a square crop. Again, these are used for different reasons on the site. It's always good to kind of just take the time, do it now. So when you reuse it, you don't have to worry about what it's going to look like. You know, it will look good because you have the time to do it right now. Now, scroll down to the bottom. You can change the name if you want. You can leave that as default. You can show it in media library. These were kind of old functionalities that we don't really use anymore. So these don't really do anything. You can keep them checked, unchecked, just kind of leave them as is. And then I'm going to go ahead and click save. So now that I've added that image, it is now a part of my image library that's on the site. So not only can I use it for other things, but obviously other people will be able to kind of go in, take a look at it, be like, oh, I can use this image for this page I'm creating or this custom block that I'm creating. So they can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to click on that, scroll down. I'm going to insert this for the banner image that we're creating here. Scroll down here. Here's the image that I will be using. And then lastly, sometimes when you are adding in text that's going to be over the image, so for this case, we are putting in my cool page. I want to add in an image overlay because I know that text is going to be white. And on this type of picture, it's probably going to be hard to see. So I want to add in that overlay that will darken the image so the text stands out more. And then you could change your text color. So in case you had something that was very white and bright, maybe a black text would look better than a white text. So you can always switch back and forth to see which one looks better. So I'm going to go ahead and just add this here. Scroll up, and now you see that my banner has been created. It looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and click Save Layout. And then now it has created a banner for this page in particular. So that's kind of our first example of us diving into custom blocks and kind of adding those onto pages. Does anybody have any questions on this? All right. I will go to the next task here. We're going to go. What I would like everybody to do, I'll give everybody about 10 minutes to do so. I want you to add content. You're going to create a basic page. You can title it whatever you want. Put some lorem ipsum into the body. And then under the menu settings, provide the menu link, and the parent item should be cool page. So the page that I created. So make sure that that is the parent item. You can go ahead and click save. And then once you do, you should have your basic page there with your body. You then want to go to the layout, to that layout builder. And then I want you to add a banner to that top region. So I'll give everybody about 10 minutes. If anybody has any questions throughout this, let me know. Okay, are nearing our time here. So before we jump into uh, the work everybody was doing here, I do want to kind of go and let you know, obviously, what we were doing here today is kind of just giving you a taste and just diving into what the platform has, so you can kind of get an idea of how to add content, manage the content that's on there. We will be doing a deeper dive, so taking a deeper dive into what that layout builder has to offer to kind of really create unique pages for your site itself, how to maintain those things and add on to it and make it look pretty, add in some animations, those type of things. We will go into a deeper dive in a couple of weeks on January 25th. I should say 23. Sorry, I forgot to update the year there. But definitely would recommend, if you guys have the time, jump into that training as well, as we take a deeper dive into everything. But to kind of go back into the pages that you guys have created, does anybody have any questions as far as what they were working on, or anything about what we went over today that was a little confusing, that could use a little bit more explanation on? So I'm just taking a look at some of the pages that you guys had created. It looks like everyone pretty much got the hang of it. As far as just adding kind of some banner, as we can see here, I see somebody was playing around with some sidebars, just to kind of take a look at how that works, different coloring here. That's great. You're kind of picking it up on it. I'm glad it's becoming intuitive. Now, the layout builder itself, I would say, for the most part, is not very intuitive. But once you get the hang of things, and as we are kind of working to improve upon it, so it makes a little bit more sense. We just would love your guys' feedback to where we can improve upon. And also, once you kind of get the hang of it and you're playing around with this, it makes it really easy to really build nice dynamic pages for your sites that you'll have this on. Again, do you want to open up for any questions? I can stick around here in case anybody has anything specific that they would like to ask, or like to ask about something on the web, on this training that we've done. If not, yeah, thank you everybody for showing up today, and I hope everybody has a great day.
Hey, Vince, a quick question while you're on.
Yeah.
Hey, what would you recommend for a possible module for the Drupal that will allow us to essentially do like not necessarily scheduling, but like take appointments? So we want to be able to have a block or calendar to be able to block out certain areas or times of the day and have people then request services in certain time periods. Have you seen anything that would work for that?
Nothing that pops up at the top of my head. However, if you could, because I think that would be something that other people would take advantage of. In that feedback section, if you just put general feedback, that at least will create a card for our maintenance team to kind of take a look at it more. I don't know if off of anything off the top of my head that would be great for this, but it could be something that either my maintenance team knows, or it could be something we look into as far as when we go back to start adding in new features for the website. That could be something that we add in there.
Okay, great. Yeah, and one other quick question. Is there a local in the Phoenix area, do you know of like a Drupal group or anything where I'm looking for like maybe some more advanced help with some projects within building out the site here, mainly on the form side?
Yeah, there used to be an Arizona Drupal user group meeting that would meet up once a month. It's been years since I went. Let me see here what we have here.
I'll look on Meetup right now and see if there's one. I got the app installed on my phone.
Yeah, the last one here. Yeah, I'm not sure. They used to meet over at ASU, but I would definitely look at those meetup groups, or sometimes they'll be on Drupal.org. They'll have the different groups, or people do meetups. So
Okay.
Like this is an example. However, let's see, they do have a meetup.com group here. Let's see. Oh, it looks like they may have disbanded at least this one. Doesn't mean that there's not others out there, but I would definitely just Google something, find out, look on meetup.com, because
Okay.
they'll have those. But yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate the help on that.
Okay.
And we'll see you next time then.
All right. Sounds good.
So
All right,
Paul,
you guys take care. Yes.
I just found one. It's virtual. It's Austin, Texas, but it's virtual and it's 5 p.m. So if it's virtual and it's outside the state, maybe that's still also useful to you. So yeah, I think Meetup's
definitely.
a good resource.
No,
Okay,
yeah.
so you found that on Meetup?
Meetup.com. Yeah, it's it's called the
Okay.
Virtual Drupal Dojo.
Okay, cool. I'll take a peek in there and dive down.
Yeah, definitely. I think those user groups, especially the ones that are outside. We obviously have a state one that we do, but those ones outside of it, they're very great resources. One, to kind of network, just to meet other people and what they're
Right.
doing, and yeah, you can see what other people are working on, what cool things that, because they'll have good presenters and everything. But yeah, but just something definitely I would say take a look into more.
And within the state, it's just what you're doing here on these events, correct?
Yeah, we want to start hosting it a little bit more. We've been so swamped to kind of get real good presenters to kind of come in to kind of show cool new things that people are working on. It's something that we're going to work on as soon as we kind of have some bandwidth, but it is something we do try to host at least once a month to kind of get everyone together to kind of talk about what they're working on and to see if anyone's working on something cool that we can present.
Okay, cool. All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
All right. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Hey, Vincent, got a quick question for you. Do you think it would be useful to the team for me to take over presenting the basics and let you focus on the advanced and the user groups?
Maybe I'll have to talk about that with Justin.
Okay.
What he wants for that. So, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I know like right now I don't quite have the bandwidth, but I know I could schedule or shift some things around and do it. I just think that maybe it would help me to answer some questions and just help me be a more valuable member to the AP team if I can have the competency to do this at least, and then let you focus on the harder stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you like the easy stuff too, and it's a break or something, But I was just thinking it might be something that would be helpful if I can do that, and it would lead into doing the Moncito stuff that I'm supposed to start bringing up. So since I do most of the work with the Moncito accounts and with the image repository accounts, maybe if we rolled all of that together into the basics thing.
Yeah, we'll think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, if anything, I would say the least amount of bandwidth would be, well, I don't know. It's hard to say because the user group meeting is just like one of those things where it's like, if we can get, just people to come and speak and present, we obviously aren't doing that, like aren't doing the presentation. So we don't need to worry about that. It would just be get somebody to present for us. Obviously take the time to find somebody and do the research, but
Okay.
Yeah.
If you think that would be more helpful, then maybe I can talk, or I can do some more. What Paul was asking, maybe I can just kind of look and see what we have in the area, what we have within the state, and see if we can get presenters.
So that used to be like 2 positions ago. So like your position, but like 2 people ago, they used to run it. So even before
Jason.
No, actually, no, 3 people ago. Yeah, Jason never did it either. But 3 people ago. God, we've had so many people. Sorry. That's right. Yeah, Monique was the last one. She was running the user group meeting and not necessarily running it. Like I would run it, but she found like the people to come and present, and I just posted it. And so that's what we did. The problem we've had in the past was like just keeping it going. We might start it again and then probably get like 3 presenters and do it 3 months in a row, and then it just stops. That's been our biggest problem with the user group meeting, is that we can't keep it going.
So then maybe the thing to do would be to build a group on Meetup and then have somebody from that group present,
Possibly. We used to, when this Phoenix Drupal user group meetup, which apparently I don't even know if it exists anymore. We used to go to them and be like, hey, somebody from there who was presenting, would you mind presenting over at, our government user group meeting? They'd be like, oh yeah. So it was easy at first, but then yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll see what I can put together. Do we have any documentation from when Monique did it? Maybe someplace to start?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. I'll do some research, see what I can find out.
Okay.
All right. And then did you see that we have some tickets that are unassigned?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to refresh on my screen. At the beginning
Let
of
me
the
stop
call.
recording.
Oh, yeah. How about that?
Okay.